Paul. There we are. Now we are live, Paul. Finally, we are live. Welcome back again, Paul, on the channel. And
Hi,
Mistaken
Nick.
Identity, chapter 5 already. And we just discussed already a little bit before we went live, or before we were coming live, that bit by bit we are getting now in the positive turn, the positive sides, or the noch one chapter, two chapters, Paul, and then
Hmm.
we are going a little bit more to the positive side because Doug is laying out his journey from being miserable and mistaken identity, how he got his mistaken identity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. And in the earlier chapters, and the last one was a particularly tough one. Um, it- Whether you can relate to some of the things he's been through. In fact, there's quite a few extreme things that Doug went through that, you know, probably never experienced. I didn't experience these things, but what it's highlighting in those early chapters is it's starting to help you understand that when you're a child and when we are all growing up, and this is for all of us, we all have experiences as children, and those experiences give us beliefs, just like
Yeah.
programming a computer.
And whatever you went through, it was not what the facts were not that important, but how you dealt with it or what importance it was brought up or it was emphasized in your life. And for someone, it can be that they, at a certain point of life, they didn't get the candy, any other ones there were abused. But it's not because if at the outside we would judge abuse more important than not getting a candy,
Mm,
if it's the experience can be totally different for the person. So it doesn't
mm,
mean because you're not abused that you don't have any beliefs that are holding you back. In fact, everyone has at any level beliefs that that are holding them back, because if it wasn't like that, you would be already much further than you are at this moment. And we
mm,
have all, I think, growth potential.
mm.
So the more you become aware that, okay, well, if
Yes.
I want to
We,
if I want to have something, I have to become someone. So I need to be aware that today, at whatever level you are, whatever you want to do in your life, the reason you're not there yet is because of any type of belief.
mm. And this belief is something that you think. It doesn't necessarily mean it's something that's true. In fact, it's more than likely not. And when we think of also positive parts of the book and negative parts of the book, here's the interesting thing. I was advising someone today, and they had a very, very tough experience that upset them. And there's a law that, I mean, I know you're familiar with this, Nick, the law of polarity. And it
Mhm.
means that in everything, which is everything's energy, there's always a positive and a negative. Now, one cannot exist without the other. This isn't us just so saying, no, we're being ultra positive here. And if there's a negative, there's always something positive there. No, we're saying this is science. And for
Mhm.
anything to exist in energy, an atom, or I mean, I'm not a scientist, but you can't have one without the other. And so any experience that might be perceived as negative, there has to be, since everything is energy, a positive side to it. This person today had something and they felt really, really down. And then they had a choice. And I gave that person that choice. And they took one piece of action, just one piece of action. And when they did it, they didn't quite get what they wanted at first, but then they did it again. And they didn't get it that time, but they did it again. And the third time they got it. They got a positive outcome. And then they
Mhm.
did it again. and they did it again, and they got 2 or 3 positive outcomes. Now, how they perceived that situation at the time changed. So they took what could be negative and they kept moving forward, and they found the positive in it. And that's the thing. When you have people, you read books like this, or other people are talking about their lives, it's not that Nick and I think have certainly found in the teaching we got from people like Doug and Bob, that it's not that successful people don't have problems or don't have these things. They don't get to some starry place where problems don't happen anymore. They just learn how to deal with them in a completely different way. And a lot of that changes when you realize that some of the things you thought were true from when you were growing up from the past, this is why people shouldn't live in the past, are not true. And how you can start to understand yourself better, be present, be in the moment. And that may not make a lot of sense. It didn't to me when people used to first say that. But you realize that you all have tremendous qualities within you. And once you can switch off all these silly things that you've been told in your childhood that are not serving you, you actually find the person that you truly are. So all of this stuff that you picked up is your mistaken identity. And this is what Doug goes on to talk about in this chapter 5, because he talks about what are you hiding? And he talks about how he used to hide all the time because he was afraid about what people think. So let's get into the chapter. Hey, Nick.
Okay, jump into it.
All right, here we go. So chapter 5, what are you hiding? There's a quote here. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. And that's from Marianne Williamson, an author. And I find that very touching, that quote, because I have personally hidden myself many times because of experiences I've had where I have what they call limiting beliefs. Anyway, let's get into the chapter. When you realize people don't care, you won't have to hide. Recently, I discovered another part of my mistaken identity, and that was holding me back from pursuing my dreams and writing this book. I've held back for way too long because I was fearful of what others would think. Even when I did show up and speak up and got positive feedback, I would still hold back. And what was that? Sorry, I break out the chapter for a second. What was that quote you were saying, Nick, about looking for validation?
Yeah, well, stop looking for someone to validate what you know already that God placed inside of you. So if you accept that idea that you're a child of God and that you're made in the image of God, then you know that you're much more than or that you have infinite possibilities, and it's just only your awareness that, or your limited beliefs that are keeping where you are. I love also the quote that Bob used a lot. If you for fear and faith, you need both to believe in something that you can't see. It's your choice.
Yes, absolutely. So, and just we're not saying this is a religious thing here. It could be source or God or universe or whatever it is. Or if you just look at it from the science perspective, more and more you find that science and theology are in fact the same. So, right, we'll carry on with the chapter. Someone close to me asked, "Why do you think you're hiding? What are you afraid of? Where did the fear come from? When I was young, I had to hide to stay safe, so hiding has been safe for me. When I was little and my parents were drunk and fighting, or my mum would yell out in her ugly, loud slur, "Dougie Dane, where are you?" I'd hide to stay safe. When I did something wrong, I'd hide to stay safe from getting the strap. A leather belt. When I escaped the madness in our home to the respite of my neighbour's house, they would hide to keep me safe. I used to hide in the spruce bushes in front of our house. They were thick and tall and a good place to hide. The bushes were right under the kitchen window where my mum used to yell for me. It was like her perch, and it was embarrassing hearing her yell. Sorry, I'm just thinking of my mother.
It happens to everyone.
Oh dear, sorry. Hearing her yell ring through the neighborhood, but worse was fearing she might find me. Coping mechanisms get built in at an early age. No child should have to hide to stay safe, and certainly no adult should have to stay hidden from their calling or purpose because they're afraid to come out of the dark and into the light. Hiding things to stay safe became a habit for me. When I faced conflict or when I made a mistake in work or in my personal relationships, I'd keep hidden. People would ask, "Doug, what are you hiding?" My answer was always the same, "Nothing." And so hiding continued. When you keep things hidden, you have more lies to cover up. Each time I covered things up, I'd give myself a hard time. The self-talk continued, and now I had more to hide. I read somewhere that if you tell the truth about everything to everyone all the time, you'll never have to worry about what others will think, and you won't have to hide. I hope you're not hiding like I was hiding. If you are hiding, stay with me. My mentor kept asking me, "Doug, why are you hiding?" I'd say, "I'm not hiding." But he'd call me out saying, "Yes, you are." "I'm not," I would repeat. But I was hiding and he knew it. He said, "Doug, you'll stop worrying about what others think of you when you realize that very rarely do stop hiding." When I first started speaking up about my story, I used to hide. Before I had to speak, I'd hide in the bathroom. When I'm nervous or anxious, I sweat. My feet sweat, my palms sweat, and they become clammy and cold. I would get so nervous that my shirt would be soaking wet under my arms. I would go to the bathroom and grab a paper towel to scrub and dry the wetness from my arms. I'd bend over in a funny position to run the hand dryer on my shirt, and I'd hide in my hotel room and blow dry my sweaty shirt. Then I would cover it up with my jacket, hoping it wouldn't show. It's funny to me now because I'm the only one who noticed or cared. I was so afraid that people would notice, so I would hide it. My partner saw that I was hiding, and she kept affirming I should stop hiding. Finally, I accepted that, and I started to affirm that being in the public eye is good and safe for me. Showing up and speaking up is good for me. I made up my mind that I wasn't going to hide anymore. The truth is, I have nothing to hide, and neither do you. Don't be afraid of what people will think. They're not thinking about you anyway. They're busy worrying about themselves and what they're hiding. It's just plain wrong that you keep the truth about ourselves hidden from the world. The things that I hid and the things I hid from no longer need to hinder me. I can't change the past and I can't control the future. We hide things from our past out of fear, and of what others think. And we hide what we think and feel because we're afraid of the future for what others will say and do. The more I distance myself from worrying of what others think or what they will do, the freer I become and the better I feel. There's nothing for me to hide from, and the same goes for you. If you don't break the habit of hiding, it won't stop you from living the life you're meant to live and becoming who you're meant to be. Stop hiding and start living. Now that's interesting because as I read that and we talk about hiding, what do you think Doug means when he's talking about hiding, Nick?
Well, I think that one of our biggest fears is the criticism of others. And as he has been through tough times, he kept that idea that he shouldn't, that he's avoiding criticism of others or judgment. It's also from the first chapter, not judging others, but then having the fear of being judged. It's close to each other. So it's also one of the major fears that Napoleon Hill describes in Think and Grow Rich. Fear of criticism, and that's what that quote, don't stop looking for someone to validate you about the things that you know already. Really, if you go to that quiet place inside you, which what God already put inside you, or what the universe put inside you, what the potential that you have. So we're looking for some and the outside validation, and that's where Bob taught us to live from the inside out instead from the outside in.
And I suppose the question here is, oh, sorry.
Yeah, but it also comes together. You can't separate one from the other. It's once you start to understand that, and how not only understand it, but how to put it into practice, working of living from the outside in, inside out, instead of from the outside in. Then you don't have to hide. You don't care. It's not caring. It's that you growing that self-confidence that you don't need to hide, or you don't have the fear to hide, or the something like that.
So it's you're hiding. It's not just in his case he was physically hiding as a child, but as an adult we hide by fitting in, by just doing what everyone else does. Or if I don't know if you've ever been in a meeting and someone's explained something and you think, I mean, I've done this, and I think, I have no idea what they just said. I'm totally confused, but I don't ask. And then someone else in the room says, well, actually, I don't understand that. Can you explain this to me, please? And they will explain it, and then I might understand a bit more. And then I'll think to myself, now, why couldn't I say that? Everyone else will think that person. I think, hey, that person sounded really cool, and they sounded really confident because they weren't afraid to say, I actually don't understand everything that you just explained. Can you help me with this? And you say to yourself, well, why couldn't I do that?
Mm-hmm. There is a magic word to solve that problem, and that's the word only. If I only ask a question, it's only a question. How much do you like to earn? Well, yeah, I want to earn 10,000 a month. That can seem a lot, or 5,000 can seem a lot, but 100,000 can seem. But if you just put only before it, it becomes very reasonable. It's only 100,000. It's only 1 million. It's only a question that you have to ask. It's not more than that.
Yeah, you're
And
only being yourself.
yeah,
I'm only being myself.
it's only that. It's not more than that. It's not less than it. It's only that. So yeah, once I start to use that word, like it helps a lot. And also
That's a
it
good one.
helps you to push your limits. Because I say, yeah, I'll make 25 or I'll make 50. It seems like, oh, it's a lot. But if you just,
Mm,
I only have to make 25 this month, or I only have to make 10 or 1,000, whatever you only is, because everyone is different only at that certain level.
mm,
And whatever it's, I only have to go into the street. I only have to speak out loud. It's only that.
mm,
So
mm,
that can help not to keep on hiding. Because
mm.
what Doug just said is it like, yeah, he was hiding from speaking out loud, sharing his story.
From hiding from being himself,
Yeah, yeah,
being the person he
over,
truly wanted to be.
yeah, because of fear of judgment, I think, fear of criticism, that you just start hiding. It says playing small. What is it? Yeah, that's that first quote when it's the beginning of the chapter. You're playing small. Doesn't serve.
Mm,
That's a little bit the thing. I like that. And why do we play small? It's often because what you said about that law of polarity. Because we're making things big.
yes.
Yeah, it's if you say
It's
yeah.
it's like when we were talking about the same things happen to people who are successful. They just deal with it in a different way. And the reason why they're able to deal with it in a different way is because they have a different perception of whatever happens to them. They perceive it differently. So they can
Yeah,
perceive something.
and they can take distance of it. They don't take it personally. They don't. They see it. You once once you start to studying this material, or once you have to, you get more awareness about the way you're thinking and the way your mind is functioning, and at that moment you just free yourself, because now every occasion you can take a step back and look at it differently than you did before.
To become objective. So you're able to look at something like sometimes your friends are able to do. They're able to look at something because they're not emotionally, their feelings aren't overtaking all their thought processes. They're able to look at it in a neutral way.
Yeah, that's what I love to be as a physiotherapist. You can treat someone and you don't feel the pain. So it's easy. It's easy to take someone's shoulder or knee or back, and you start to work on it. And because I don't have any problems with doing it because I don't feel it.
Yeah, you're not emotionally involved.
No, you're not
That's
emotionally
brilliant.
involved with it, and that's in this person in this mentorship. What we taught them, what Bob taught us is, you're not emotionally attached. You can look at it with a sane mind and help students like create another perspective, because they're so attached, they're so close to the problem or the paradigm there, or the beliefs that they're carrying with them, that sometimes they just need someone to help them to get unstuck, to get out of the rut and just get another insights. It's only that. It's not more. You're making it too big. Yeah, but yeah, you're creating it big again. But I want to have it big, because if I admit that it's small, then I can overcome it.
Mm. And of course, you've got this wonderful little monkey, if you like, this ego that we have, this thing that likes to bring up and distort all these beliefs about why we can't do things, and coming from our subconscious and our past, that loves to try
Yeah.
and play tricks on our mind. And becoming objective and conscious, of course, neutralizes that little
Yeah.
monkey.
Well, talking about that law, that law of polarity, just accepting that law, it creates a lot of responsibility.
Mm,
Because if you now accept that for every bad there is a good,
mm, yeah,
yeah, ships. Now I have to accept that if I accept the law of polarity, then now I have to accept that there is something in everything bad, there is something good.
yeah. It would be like a
That's
captain on
that's
a
that's
ship.
far. Yeah, that's very hard. That's very hard. But it becomes very easy once you accept it.
Yes, yeah. If you accept the fact that it's science, and everything's energy, and everything is positive and negatively charged, therefore, if you're feeling something really bad, and of course, when you're feeling like that, it's probably ego talking to you, then if there's something bad, there has to be something good. And of course, the same the other way around. If there's something good, there's also something bad that can happen. And it's just, which one do you want to focus on?
Yeah, You have always a choice to focus on the positive or the negative side, and we know the major talk that is running in your mind, that will become the blueprint of your life. It's just you're writing
Mm,
the script for the next day. It's like if you have those broadcast shows which every day is another script, other yeah, what you're thinking today, what your major thoughts are, will be the broadcasting of tomorrow. You will see it tomorrow happen.
mm. One of the
So
things I like
what are
think,
you writing? What you would like? Which type of story would you like to write?
mm,
It's
one of the things I like to think about is Eckhart Tolle loves to talk about how challenges are sent to help us grow. And if you think about an egg,
Mhm.
and if you think about a little chick, now that chick has got to go through the challenge of cracking the egg to
Mhm.
then come out and think, oh, I've got a life to start here. So that opportunity cannot start without a challenge.
I agree with that, and I totally disagree at the same time.
Oh, right.
I had a conversation with my oldest daughter last week, and she said, "Yeah, we grow from our mistakes over what it's something like that." I said, "Well, that's true if you are conscious about it. That's true if you accept the law of polarity. That's true if you are looking for the good in everything. But if you're not aware of that, then can have a lot of challenges, and those challenges will make you only more miserable and more miserable and even more miserable till the moment that you accept that in every bad there is good.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can
Okay.
grow.
Okay. Now
Now
I'm
you
gonna
can grow.
I'm gonna play. Let's do that thing that Doug does when he does things, as if you're in a court. So
Yeah.
now your daughter, do you think she's the sort of person that, whether she had awareness of, I know, because I understand what you're talking about when we go to awareness, whether she had the awareness to understand it or not, the fact that she believes, even without awareness, that when there's a challenge, it can help you grow, is that a positive perception?
that's already a beginning.
No.
That's a
Is
beginning.
it a positive I hope your daughter's watching this. Is it a positive perception? Is it positive or negative? So let's say she doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's
awareness.
right. It's positive. Let's say it's positive.
Right, because her dad and her mum
Mhm.
probably did a great job of putting that perception in her mind. So just like when we're growing up, we'll have things that in some cases can negatively affect you or limit your mind. We also have people who are, now what was it Bob used to call them? They are conscious, competent,
Yeah, yeah.
conscious,
You,
so you're basically you have habits that serve you, but it's still coming all from your subconscious.
unconsciously competent.
That's it, you've got it. So I would like to say respectfully that your daughter is unconsciously competent. So you're right that she may not have awareness, but she is still competent in how she perceives that a challenge is an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
stick
No.
up for your daughter.
Yeah, but you have you can still. But as long as you. So those fast sayings, yeah, from everything. But if you learn something, you can only learn from a mistake if you know that there is something. If you accept that there is something positive at the
Yes,
to
that
get
now,
to get out of it.
yes, but now she
And
may not have awareness in the way that I know you mean,
mm,
but because she
mhm.
has that programming, which is in her subconscious, she will
Yeah.
always look for what she can learn from it because that's the piece of programming
Well,
that you've
what I
given her. God bless
yeah,
you.
yeah, but she
Well
can
done,
do
Dad.
better. No, but she can do better. She can do better. Because at a certain moment you have to be consciously searching for that good.
Yes.
Some people
Yes.
will do that automatically. It becomes a habit. It becomes a habit
Yeah.
to always look for the good or what's good inside, what's good in it. That's the
Yeah.
Bob taught. Like,
But
just
we can
it is what it
always
is. It
we
is what
can
it
always
is, and what's good in it.
we can always do better because we can never be perfect. And we know that
No,
because we have such a fantastic mind, all of us, that we're always able to improve. So I think it's brilliant that your daughter thinks that any challenge is an opportunity to learn. And I think she's a chip off the old block, as we say in
okay,
England.
thank you. Okay,
So
okay.
that was a good
Bring
one.
it
That
on
was a good
in.
one. Yeah, we went off, but yeah, it had to be done. Right, so here we go. There's a meditation here. For all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to the light and made known to all. That's Luke 8:17. And in each one of these chapters, it talks about, getting you to write notes about what you feel you've learned from the chapter. It's incredibly important. It's a little bit like when people talk about journaling. If you journal, which is basically it's like a writing version of talking to yourself every day about what you think you've done and what you think you need to work on and what you want to do, then it's just a way of keeping track and helping yourself and sharing thoughts. In the action points it's got for this chapter, it says, if you want to stop hiding, take an honest look at what you're hiding. And I would say, take an honest, objective look at what you're hiding. If you and I were sitting down talking as if we were close, trusted friends, tell me what you are hiding. Make a list of the things you've been hiding from others. Cross off the ones that are making you feel small. Decide on one thing you're going to do to stop hiding and practice showing up every day. And that means showing up, I interpret that as showing up as yourself, showing up as your true self, not someone that you are kind of camouflaging yourself, which I used to be very good at, to just fit in with everybody else and not stick out, or what you perceive as sticking out. If you keep hiding, you'll feel lost until you find yourself. The fastest way to the truth about yourself is to tell the truth about yourself. And that's most important, I would say, just coming off that for a second, to tell the truth about yourself to yourself. I know it seems scary, but I'm telling you, you don't need to hide anymore. And just to mention, the title of the next chapter, which we can do next week, is There's Nothing Wrong with You.
Okay.
As I say, we're getting into that point now where, we're starting to say, well, look, all this stuff, this is how you got it. And all this stuff that you believe about yourself, once you stop and start to question it, you'll actually find that very little of it is true, particularly the things that are holding you back.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, Paul. Bring it here
Me
to the
too.
landing.
Okay.
And we'll see our audience next week.
Yes. And I'm sure